Let's go ahead and dive right in. We're going to get started in child's pose. So bringing your feet together and your knees wide, sit back on your heels. Let your elbows come out nice and wide, one hand resting on top of the other, and let your forehead rest on your hands. We're going to stay here for just a couple of minutes to get some long, deep breathing established for our practice. So closing your eyes, start breathing deep, rich, nourishing breaths. Breathing deep into your belly and all the way up into your chest, filling your lungs completely. And as you exhale, exhale fully and completely, emptying on your out-breath. Emptying your mind as you become fully present right here, right now, for the next 30 minutes, giving yourself the gift of this experience. And continuing to breathe deeply, let's come up onto all fours, coming into table. You can keep your eyes closed if you want, but we're going to come into some cat and cow stretches to start warming up and loosening up the spine. Inhale, let your heart and your navel drop down. Lift both ends of your spine. Feel the stretch in your belly and your front body. As you exhale, round the back, tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin, pull the navel in toward your spine. Inhale up. Exhale round. Inhale up. Exhale round. Keep going. Let's get the spine nice and loose. Good. Come back to a neutral spine. And now hug your left hip and your left shoulder toward each other. So you're really shortening, compressing the left side of your body and getting a nice stretch into the right side. And now move the stretch over to the other side. So shorten and contract the right side of your body and feel the stretch in your left side. And then move the stretch to the other side and keep going back and forth, loosening up your spine in this other direction. Good. And then from here, start to move your rib cage in a full circle. Inhaling forward and down, swinging over to the side. Exhale, rounding up and back and over to the other side. Exploring. Freeing up your rib cage, loosening up the fascia, warming everything up. Getting cerebral spinal fluid moving all up and down your spine. Still breathing. Good. Now moving in the other direction. And just allow yourself to get nice and loose and fluid. Warming and loosening everything up. Good. And then coming back to a neutral spine. So we're here in table. On your next in-breath, go ahead and extend that left leg. Spread the toes and really activate that left leg. And then hug that hip in and up. So you're really stabilizing that hip joint. Extending your right arm forward, reaching, and then at the same time, hug that shoulder blade down your back to stabilize your shoulder. Inhale, nice and long. Exhale, round the back. Pull the navel in toward your spine. Tap your elbow to your knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Continue, really waking up your core. Good. And then reaching, this time bring that right arm up and back, grab a hold of that left foot and lift, looking straight down. Good. On your next in-breath, releasing that leg, step your foot all the way forward into a low lunge. So you want that left foot flat on the mat with your knee lining up over your heel. Your heel is flat. And sinking into the hips here, lift your heart, pull the shoulders back and down. Breathe. You can also curl the toes under and lift that back knee and let that right leg become really active. Just depends on your energy level. You can keep the leg lowered or you can lift it energetically. Breathe here. With your right hand on the mat, inhale, let's reach the left arm up, coming into a twist. Pulling both shoulder blades down away from your ears. Nice, long, healthy spine. Feel the stretch, the twist beginning at the base of the spine, moving all the way up into your neck. Good, inhale, deep breath. And exhale, lower. Both hands come to the inside of that left foot. Go ahead and lower that back knee, relax that back foot, and start to wiggle your foot over to the left edge of your mat. And you can start walking your hands toward that upper right corner of your mat. And you can stay here or you can lower down onto one or both forearms. You can also put blocks underneath your forearms if you want a little bit of lift. But breathing into this, whatever version you're doing, you can turn that left foot out a little bit to help open up the hip a little bit more. You can even flex the foot and roll onto that outer edge of that left foot. Breathing into this. Another option, you can stay right here, or you can bring your left hand to that left knee, pressing that knee away from you as you rotate into a twist, looking up toward the sky. Breathing deeply. And another option is to reach this left arm back. And if you have the flexibility, you can maybe grab a hold of that right foot. And then you are also getting a stretch in the front of your right leg and your quads. So this is entirely optional. I'm giving you lots of options here. Make this practice work for you. Breathe, opening your heart to the sky. Good. When you're ready, slowly back out of this, both hands on the mat. Walk the hands in close. Walk your foot back into alignment right under your knee, coming back into your low lunge. And then on your next in-breath, let's step that left foot back, coming back into table. And take a moment to notice the difference between the two sides of your body. Between your hips, your legs, it's probably quite significant, the difference that you feel. So let's actually come onto the forearms here. We are going to do the other side, but first coming down onto the forearms, and then slowly start to slide your arms forward, lifting your elbows, reach those arms forward, press your hips back, and let your heart open toward the earth below. Now you can come onto your forehead. You can put a block under your forehead, or if you're really flexible in the shoulders, you can even come onto your chin. But you don't want to force anything here. The idea is to find the perfect stretch in your shoulders. Keep your hips back over your knees. Open your heart to the earth below. Breathe deeply. Whatever version of this you're doing. On your next in-breath, lift your shoulders, walk your hands back in line with your shoulders. Wiggle around a little bit here, take a few breaths. Again, feeling the difference. Notice the shifts and changes taking place in your body. And now, extending your right leg straight back. Activate your right leg, extend your left arm forward, strengthen and engage your right hip, your left shoulder. Breathing here. Inhale. Exhale, round the back, pull the navel in, tap the elbow to your knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keep going. Inhale, open and lengthen. Exhale, round. Empty the breath. Really engage the core. Good. One more time. Lengthen as you inhale. This time, exhale, reach back with the left hand. Grab a hold of the right foot if you can. Look straight down and lift. Good. On your next in-breath, release your right leg. Step it all the way forward. Make sure the foot is flat. The heel is on the mat. The knee lines up right over your heel. Sink into the lift, into the hips, lift the heart, draw the shoulders back and down. As always, you can put blocks underneath your hands here if that helps you make this a little more accessible, a little more comfortable for you. Breathe into this. Remember, you have the option of lifting that back leg actively, energetically. And with your left hand on the mat, inhale, reach the right arm up, coming into a twist. Pull the shoulders down your back, away from your ears, nice open heart. Spinal twist, beginning at the base of the spine, moving all the way up into your neck. Good. Inhale, deep breath. Exhale, lower both hands to the inside of that right foot. Go ahead and lower that back knee if it's lifted. And you're going to start wiggling your foot over to the right edge of your mat. Walk your hands toward that upper left corner of your mat. Maybe you stay up on your hands. Maybe you come on down to one or both forearms. Remembering you can always put blocks under your forearms to give you a little lift if you need that. And you can turn that right foot out a little bit, flexing the foot, rolling to the outer edge of your foot, if that helps you get a deeper release and opening in the hip. So breathing into this, close your eyes, just feel what's happening here. We know there's a whole lot of emotional energy that gets stored in the hips. A lot of it has to do with relationships. And you have the option of placing your right hand on the right knee, pressing that knee away as you rotate and twist. Twist here, looking up toward the sky. And you also have the option of reaching that right arm back, grabbing hold of that left foot. If that's accessible to you, do your best here and let that be enough. Good. Slowly release. Walk the hands in. Walk the foot back in, coming into your low lunge. Inhaling and then exhale, step that right leg back, coming back into table. And move around a little bit here, kind of wiggle things around, integrate the experience. Notice what's happening in your body, the changes taking place, the little shifts. Some of them subtle, some of them much more noticeable. Good. And so we are in table. Take a couple of deep breaths here. And then walk your hands forward one full hand's length. We're going to come into downward facing dog. If your wrists tend to bother you, or for any reason you don't want to do downward facing dog today, you can come onto your forearms. The other option to support your wrists is to maybe double or even triple up your mat to put it right under your wrists, so it takes some of the pressure off of your wrists, and then over time that'll start to feel better and better, and then you might not need that support. So fingers are spread. A lot of people don't realize that even the hands are getting a stretch. So the first few times you would do yoga, downward facing dog can be challenging because the muscles in the hands have not really stretched and released yet. So whatever version of this you're doing, curl the toes under. We're going to come into a bent kneed downward facing dog. So lift the hips, keep the knees bent. Press your hands or your forearms down and forward and stretch your hips up and back. Focus on getting the stretch from your hands to your hips or from your elbows to your hips if you're on your forearms, and then you can press into one heel at a time. But the energy is pressing up and back through the hips. So think of this as a shoulder stretch. It's really an all over stretch, but start with getting the length from the hands to the hips. Then we can press into one heel at a time, warm up and loosen up our calves. Breathing. You can always take a break in child's pose if you need to. Child's pose is your friend. It's there for you when you need it most. Good. Inhale, lift your heels up high. Exhale, press your heels back. Inhale, lift your heels high. Exhale, press your heels back. Maybe your knees are a little straighter now. Maybe they're still bent. Whatever works best for you. Inhale, lift the heels high. Exhale, press the heels back. And then let's lower onto the knees. Feet together, knees wide, and come into child's pose. Hips are back on your heels. Elbows out wide, forehead rests on your hands. Take a few deep breaths here. If it's comfortable, you can turn your head to one side, resting perhaps on your right cheek so that your neck gets a nice release in this way. And then lifting your head, turn it in the other direction if you're doing this version. It's really important though for this one that your hips are back over your heels. Yeah. Good. Coming back into table. Now press your hips back behind your knees, and inhaling here, take a deep breath as you exhale, pass the right arm through your left. Keep reaching. Maybe you're able to get that right shoulder onto the mat, maybe even your right temple. The important thing is the hips are back behind your knees. You don't want to have all this weight forward on your neck. So as you reach into this right hand, you can press into your left hand. Think of the left hand like a little kickstand. You can press into that hand to explore this twist more deeply. You're in control here. Breathe. And it's perfect to stay right here. If you want something more, you can always reach that left arm up. You can wrap it around your back, maybe hooking it onto that right thigh. Getting a deeper rotation here. And again, just to continue showing other options, You can always lift that left knee, and you can lift that left leg. Activating that left leg, stack that left hip over the right hip, really waking up your core here. These are all options. So make this practice work for you. And maybe you start with a simplified version of this entire practice, and over time you evolve to where you can do all of the options in this one particular practice. So one practice can offer you a lot. Good. When you're ready, slowly back out of this. Inhale back to center. Take a deep breath here, moving around, noticing the difference between your two sides. Good. Inhale, take a deep breath in. Again, hips back behind your knees. You can walk the hands forward a little bit here, and then threading the needle past the left arm through your right. As always, you can stay right here, or you can start to explore deeper versions of this. That's the beauty of yoga. As simple as it is, you can keep tweaking and evolving. The simplest practice can help you grow. Even if you did the exact same practice every day for 3 months, you would notice yourself and your body shifting and changing and growing and evolving through all of that. So don't underestimate the power of a simple, sustainable practice like this. Whenever you're ready, slowly back out of this. And inhale, come all the way back to center. Move around a little bit, noticing the difference between your two sides. And now sit back on your heels. Sit nice and tall. Take a few deep breaths. If it's not comfortable for you to sit like this, you can consider rolling up a towel or another beach yoga mat if you have it. You could put that behind your knees to elevate your hips a little bit, but you want to try to get your shoulders back over your hips. If this is just not comfortable yet, do it for as long as you can, or you can come into a cross-legged position at any time. So breathing deeply here. Arms down by your sides, shoulders rolling back and down. Inhale, deep breath. Exhale, lower your left ear towards your left shoulder. Breathing into the side of your neck. Both shoulder blades keep sliding down your back, away from your ears. Inhale through center. Exhale over to the other side. Perhaps keeping your fingertips touching the mat here if you can, to really encourage the shoulders to keep moving down away from your ears. Good. Inhale back to center. This time moving your hips, dropping your hips over to your right. So lower your hips to your right. Bring your left hand out to the side. Inhale, reach your right arm up and over. So now we're opening the whole side body. So the spine moves in 6 directions, forward and back, side to side like we're doing now, and twists from left to right. So any truly sustainable yoga practice will have you moving your spine in all 6 directions in every practice. So even if you're only practicing for 30 minutes, you can get so much out of that. If you move your spine in 6 directions, you'll keep your spine nice and loose and flexible and supple. And if you release and open up the hips and shoulders, we definitely have opened up the shoulders and the hips. We're going to do a little more hip opening in a moment. Good. Inhale. Let's come all the way back to center. Take just a moment. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Notice the difference between the two sides of your body. Good, and when you're ready, lower your hips to your left. So for the sake of balance, we always want to do the same thing on both sides. So reaching the right arm out, inhale, reach your left arm up and over. Another sign of a sustainable yoga practice is any practice that focuses on three things: flexibility, strength, and balance. And today we're really focused more on flexibility. In future practices, I will be focusing on balance more and flexibility or strength more, and sometimes it'll be a combination of all three. But today we're focused a little bit more on the flexibility piece. Good. Inhale, coming all the way up, and slowly come back to center. Again, close your eyes, breathe deeply, noticing the difference between your two sides. Okay, so let's go ahead and come down onto our bottoms, onto our bums, and we're going to bring the legs out nice and wide. Sit up nice and tall. Pull back on the toes. And do your best here. If it's helpful, you can sit on a block or a pillow. If that helps you to sit a little more comfortably, you can bring your hands onto the mat behind you, lifting and opening your heart to the sky. And if it's comfortable, you can even bring your hands forward. But what you want to do here is sit up high on your sits bones, stabilize your pelvis. And in other words, if you're going to hinge forward at the hips. So your whole pelvis rolls forward. And then you'll really start to get a nice release in the inner thigh, in the groin area, in the hip area. And keep the integrity in the spine. So your shoulders are stacked nicely over your hips. So inhale, take a deep breath here, and as you exhale, you can explore hinging forward at the hips, going just as far as you comfortably can. Or you stay back here with your hands behind you, whatever works for you. So again, you can do this practice several times, and each time find your way a little deeper into it. You can even move from side to side. Good. Close your eyes, breathe here. So I have found that it's much more sustainable for a lot of people to do yoga 30 minutes a day than it is to make room for an hour every day. A lot of people have a lot of difficulty making that a consistent thing. But 30 minutes, most of us can make 30 minutes work. And so if we're practicing every day for 30 minutes, then each day we could maybe focus on a different area of the body. So some days we might focus on the hips. Another day we might focus on the shoulders. Another day we might focus more on strength and flexibility. Another day we might focus on the core. Another time we might focus on back bends. But each time we'll breathe and we'll move our bodies and focus on something different, but always move the spine in all 6 directions and always address the full body. And that's my goal with my 30-minute sustainable yoga practices. Okay, when you're ready, slowly come all the way back into a seated position. Sit nice and tall. And your option here is to stay here for 5 minutes and meditate, and or lay on your back and enjoy Shavasana, that final resting pose, which is my recommendation, that at the end of every practice you lay on your back for 5 minutes, close your eyes, breathe, and just allow yourself to integrate this experience. And I hope you got exactly what you needed out of this sustainable 30-minute yoga practice. Stay tuned, there's a lot more where this came from. And until next time, namaste.